Hey, my name is Kevin C., and I am founder and CEO of My Wi-Fi Networks, and I'm very pleased to present to you the March 2017 My Wi-Fi update. A very quick agenda on this video that I wanted to quickly record for our partners to show you really what's been up to, what's recently been launched live, and what we have coming up. So this agenda is going to talk about some improvements that we've made to our platform, such as the idle timeout increase, fixing the IP conflict, fixing the Android pop-up. We're removing a couple features such as Google and Facebook. We'll explain why in just a minute. We also added new features such as email validation, a whole bunch of new cloud controllers, and a whole bunch of new stuff that is planned in the near future. So in this last few months, we've squashed lots of bugs. We've tremendously improved a lot of the platform. A lot of it is invisible, might not be immediately noticeable to you, but we fixed and improved and enhanced a lot of areas of the platform. Specifically, we increased the idle timeout. So we've had a lot of partners report that Wi-Fi users are being kicked off or appear to be kicked off after not using the Wi-Fi for a few minutes. This was actually intentional and designed to save network space, to boot people off who are not actively using it or who are actually idle. We've just extended the idle timeout to 20 minutes, so the session will end if someone does not use the internet in a certain amount of time, but everything will still be governed by your session time in your specific location. Another big feature that everyone's been asking about is the Google Android pop-up. But essentially, when anybody connects to a Wi-Fi network, it's almost expected that you're asked to sign in if a sign-in is required. So we finally fixed the Google Android pop-up. This is actually an issue that's been affecting almost everyone that is doing a captive portal or a social login. And with today's update, we fixed the Android pop-up issue. This issue was essentially happening because of Google.com and the fact that we had to whitelist it in order to validate email addresses. So if somebody was signing in with Google, we had to whitelist Google.com to ask Google, hey, do we have permission to get this person's information? But while we whitelisted that, many Android phone devices would just completely bypass the captive portal pop-up. So there was the issue. So currently, for those of you who don't know, there are more than 24,000 unique Android devices in the world. That's almost 6 times as many in the last 4 years. And this will fix most Android phones, but I'd say almost all of them will now have a pop-up. But essentially, to fix the Android pop-up, we had to make a pretty tough choice. So in order to enable the Android pop-up, we essentially had to remove Google from our whitelist. So to fix it, we had to remove Google completely. And it's actually a good thing that we did, because upon further investigation, we found that Google has already begun ending support for the WebKit authorization. And what this actually stands for is that whenever we try to authorize somebody within a captive portal through the Google Auth Kit, and you can see over here, this is right on Google's blog. I'm just going to zoom in and scroll down here so you guys can all see it. So starting in October, they prevented all new OAuth clients from using the web views. On April 20th, they're going to start blocking, and then later this year, they're going to deprecate the entire thing. So essentially, they're going to cut off Google as a sign-up option later this year, and all new Google apps will no longer work for the WebKit authorization. So if you use our default app, that used to work, but if you created any new apps, Google would actually block it. And really, in fact, Google didn't really provide us with much information. They only gave us the name and email. And if you try to connect with Google now using a new app, that's what you're going to see. So you don't really get much information from that. So that being said, we removed Google as a login option. So as Google was whitelisted previously, it would bypass the call to pop up when connecting. And by removing Google from the whitelist, we fixed 99% of the Android pop-up issues. So currently, Google is no longer available as a login option that collects data. And we recommend everybody right now to remove Google as a login option from your campaigns. So it's required to update your firmware for all of this to take effect. But we recommend right now, we didn't want to go do it for you, but you should go into every campaign that you have, and you should disable Google as a login option. So we also removed Facebook as a check-in option. This also was not our choice. Facebook recently changed their policy and started to disallow pre-populated and automated wall posts for apps, and they're doing this in favor of some other things that we're now integrating with. And this really prompted us to remove the Facebook check-in feature. And as mentioned, we plan to replace this with new Facebook marketing features in the near future, such as creating an integrated messenger bot and much deeper Facebook integrations. But that being said, we also added a whole bunch of new features to the platform. So we added a new email validation tool. So we've upgraded the connect with email option to now validate the SMTP or the mail server for all emails entered into the platform. So now with no more Google, it doesn't matter. You can actually have email validation, still collect the name and email, but this time validate it. So previously, we would only check for a valid email format. So if you typed in anything at anything.com, we would just check to make sure that you had the .com and anything in this format. So this would really allow users to log in with anything at gibberish.com, and it really wouldn't work. So now we are actually physically checking the validity of each email for the domain itself. So if somebody types in some garbage like that, it will no longer work. And here's a quick preview of what the email validation looks like. We also fixed an IP conflict issue. So if any of you are using Verizon or any other types of devices or modems that had an IP address of 192.168.1.1, the previous version of our firmware for our devices also had the IP of 192.168.1.1. So with certain ISPs, such as Verizon, having the same IP, this caused an IP conflict and essentially didn't allow you to connect your device to that modem. So we've now changed the default IP of all of our devices to 192.168.99.1, and that's no longer going to conflict with any modem out there. And as well, to make this happen, you need to update your firmware. So for those of you who don't know how to update your firmware, you go to Devices in the interface, you check to see that if it's yellow, it needs to be updated. You click on the little button over there. That will open up your device settings. You click on Upgrade Firmware, and it will automatically update itself. Now, what if you can't connect to update? For example, you're using Verizon or you have an IP conflict and you can't go in to physically connect to your modem to change the IP and to connect. So if you're on Verizon or other providers and you can't connect, what you should do is update your IP address manually. And what you should do is right now is go to support.mywifi.io, search for the words IP conflict, and you'll see it come up. And in fact, we actually redid our entire support desk, and I'm going to jump in right now and show you where to find that. So as you can see here from the new support site, it is very streamlined and super simple. So if I just wanted to look for IP conflict, it'll pop up right here, and these are the instructions to manually go into my writer. It's a little bit of work, but this will only have to be done once. If you update the device, you will not have to do this manually because everything will be automatically switched to the new IP address with the new update. We also released a whole bunch of new cloud controllers. Now, some of you might ask, why would you want to use a cloud controller on the system versus just a single device? Well, first of all, you can quickly scale and set up for anything from small to super large events. Cloud controllers really allow you to securely manage all devices from the cloud with incredible control. You no longer need to have custom firmware or flash any devices because you don't need a firmware. We integrate directly with the cloud, and you can manage all of your networks literally from your smartphone. You don't necessarily need to have a system or a specific controller or a switch set up. If you use any of the following cloud controllers, we now integrate seamlessly. So we've had this for a while, the Unify Ubiquiti Cloud Controller integration. It's a great integration that allows you to control your entire Ubiquiti network from the cloud. You can find out more about that at ubnt.com/enterprise/software. And you can see over here, it's a enterprise-grade software. If you've never worked with this, I don't recommend you try to start learning and set this up yourself. Find a local Unify or Ubiquiti partner to either do this for you or partner with them. So what this allows you, this is just a sample of their cloud interface. You can go in, you can manage everything from the cloud. You can do bandwidth throttling. You can see what sites people are seeing, all kinds of cool stuff. We also integrated with Cisco MERAKI, so the same kind of thing, everything from the cloud, all host managed. You can find out more about that at meraki.cisco.com. So by going here, you can see that MERAKI is obviously a very widely used system. Here as well, if you've never done this before, I recommend you find your MERAKI partners in your area and try to partner with them or refer them to us. We pay great commission for referrals. In that respect, I mean, it's a little technical, it's a little pricey, but our system now works where this is required. Now, those of you who want to, let's say, start a cloud network at a lower budget or do something without yearly licensing fees, we recently announced a new partnership with OpenMesh. And OpenMesh has their own free cloud controller called CloudTrax. You can find out more about that at open-mesh.com. And CloudTrax is free. There's no annual licensing fee. The hardware is pretty cost effective, and this allows you to manage everything from the cloud. So if you go over here and you go to the cloud controller on the OpenMesh site, you can learn all about CloudTrax and how easy it is to use it, how secure it is, how painless it is to add new access points and have it all work. And the cool thing is that all this now works directly within our system. And their hardware as well is pretty cost effective, anywhere between $75 on the low end to $225 on the high end at any location that you set up. So if you need multiple access points, they can all talk to each other and provide a great, excellent Wi-Fi experience, all integrated with our captive portal and social login. And we also integrated with CRADLEPOINT. CradlePoint is one of the leaders in 4G and wireless connectivity. So if you check out their website, cradlepoint.com, they got a whole bunch of devices that are primarily 4G empowered. So it does get a little expensive when you're trying to, let's say, offer this as a free public Wi-Fi hotspot because you're using data. But essentially, this will allow you to streamline and scale your Wi-Fi network. So taking a look at CradlePoint, some of their devices, they got some pretty great products. On the higher end, they got the AER 3100. You can now seamlessly integrate with this system and offer a captive portal social login via our system all seamlessly. So this is a quick look at their platform. To find out more, cradlepoint.com. Again, we recommend if you've never done this before, make sure that you partner with someone who's done this because then now you can provide the marketing angle and the software to complement their hardware install. So all of this stuff that I just mentioned is now available only for agency partners and higher. So if you're on a free plan or an entrepreneur plan, unfortunately, you won't be able to use most of what I talked about today. You need to upgrade to an agency plan in order to use all the cloud controllers, all the advanced white label features, and all the new features that we have coming up. We also have our Slack group open to all of our agency partners, and we look forward to talking about some great strategy in that group. As far as upcoming releases, we are currently working on a brand new analytics dashboard, an entirely new contacts manager to help you manage your contacts and people who connect your social connections, an entirely revamped campaign builder that's going to really change the entire way you create campaigns, a new login flow with deep link redirects, a lot more on that soon. It's going to be very, very cool and a huge impact for your clients. We're also working on a new TripAdvisor API integration, an improved, deeper integration with Zapier for automation, and all of the other suggestions from Facebook on that request list that we had called out for. So I just wanted to really record this quick video to keep everyone up to date on what's going on. If you have any questions, always feel free to contact support. Not on the Facebook group. Support is the place you want to go to ask any questions specific about your account. And we have a whole bunch of more live training coming up very soon. So again, thanks so much for being a partner, and we'll talk to you more in the Facebook group.